Greetings and the best of salutations. That would be prayer, power, peace, patience, and prosperity. The question of proudness or prowess. Prowess.
Here's the definition of prowess: skill or expertise in a particular activity or field.
A skill or expertise in a particular activity or field. Bravery, in battle. I like to say that I labor in the field of life transitional endeavors, trying to make an impact wherever I go. There was a gentleman whom I met. I shared with him some books that I have written, a couple of manuscripts, and a book of poems. And he decided to, he asked to, may he read the book of poems. He was there to visit or look at some, he came in to look at some artwork, but he was there. He just stopped past and realized that the place had art where I was at, and but he was there getting his glasses worked on, which probably 2 or 3 doors down from the art museum. And he came in the place, and I engaged him. I was the first person that he met, and as we got to talking about the art that was displayed, then he shared with him several of my books, and he said, may he read the book of poems. Thought it was quite interesting that the people whom I have encountered in displaying my books, a few brought them, but in my feelings or estimation, that he just decided to sit down and read them. He didn't. He had time on his hand. The key thing is he had time on his hands. So he sat down and read it, and he came back and he said, "Interesting." No, he did not purchase the book, but he took the time to read the book. Read some of the poems. He came back to me and said, "Man, it's more like philosophy than poetry." And I just um, agreed, um, for the sake of continuing the communication and the flow of the communication. And then I shared some thoughts of mine with him, and he said, "Man, if anything that you have to share that hits you, um, and call me up, man. Share it with me." He he was seemed to be attracted to my thoughts. You know, a proudness or prowess, or a my considered to be my intellect, or whatever how you take that. He was attracted to that. He seemed to value that based upon that which he was reading, or he could be in quest or in search or thirst for for what people may call knowledge. I do not know, but just his interest. I texted him something the other day, and he says, "Wow, he never looked at it that way. He wanted to know more, want to know more." So I texted him something else. I said, "Think on this. Energy is how we communicate with this material world by the amount of something determined, should be determined by the amount of something mathematically called time. Language is used to structure that energy." And I didn't put the word determined in there. I missed that. But I was just thinking, I was looking at some of the panditry and the decoration and the symbolism of what is called uh, the uh, Olympic Games. What I think of some Frenchman, Debarian, or some Paris, decided in the modern times, around, I believe around 1896, I believe. But and of course, it's been going on before then. I was thinking before I proceed on, and that was about time and energy. I say energy is how we communicate with this material world, calculated by the amount of something, determined by the amount of something mathematically called time. It's all science. But so I would approach with this energy is to communicate, or I approach it comprehensively, and to aggregate that energy, or to bring it together, and architecturally designed. The energy is to keep the flow, or to replenish the continuity of our confidence and learning from one another. In doing so, it it produces a obligation, our values, our values. We learn our values, our morals, and our ethics. But then I look at time. It is to coordinate uh, the the energy, and and this is how we find our bearings, our culture and agriculture, and you plant a seed and you produce a crop, and that's agrarian in thought. You know, some would say, as Chinka Diop would say, there must be a God somewhere. It's agrarian in thought. So it is designed to make us. Time is designed to make us coherent. Time is designed to make us socially coherent. Whereas energy is designed to replenish social continuity. One is to be aggregated, that would be the energy, and time is to be coordinated. Hmm. So, what is this? Uh, if I look at these Olympic Games, I was thinking, if we look at how I always say, have the Africans in America been Americanized for Africa, or have the Africans in America has been Americanized for America? Distinction and distinguished. I was looking at the once again the recently the Olympiads introduction, or the presentations and all the symbolism and the culture of the dance of the people from Tokyo or Japan. I just look at their distinctiveness. If I see it, if what I see, the distinctiveness of their culture and how it is displayed, you know. And I say, I mean, how many Olympics can one, you know, display? Because the only game I know is the game of confidence. And someone says he or she has no confidence is twice defeated. I think Marcus Garvey said that. And I was thinking about back to prowess, particular skill, you know, and the competition. You know, you want to compete in the best of ways. You know, if we get to a point, if I say we talking about with the so-called black people, because it seems as though if the so-called black Americans want to distinguish themselves from their so-called slave masters and compete in the best of ways in the World Olympics, not be used to make someone else look greater than them, while the rest is being deprived. What if I may use that, some will call it automatic distorted thought. You look at Tulsa, Oklahoma, the black so-called Black Wall Street, distinguished themselves as a model. And then there were those who are observing that model. It's like a patient and a doctor, a patient and a client. But what my point is that there is a model that has been set, and people are observing that model. And when they observe that model, they could be jealous and envious of that model, because you are distinguish yourself. What if blacks say, man, we are going to represent ourselves? We will show the world and distinguish ourselves, that without us being a symbolism of representing your power, that we represent our own power and our own prowess, show the world whom and what we really are. Distinguishing ourselves, separating ourselves, not being used as a symbol of your power. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. I say this, Frank M. Snowden Jr., Blacks in Antiquity. As wrote, he says that the about the Ethiopian, that the Ethiopian was so used, was a natural development of classical tradition, for the Ethiopian was in many ways a convenient symbol for certain patterns of Christian thought. The Ethiopian blackness and other physical characteristics conspicuously called him to the attention of a predominantly white society. The Ethiopian was the blackest and most remote of men, yet his blackness gave rise neither to a theory of racial superiority nor to an inferior treatment. It was in such a climate that the early Christians made it clear that the Ethiopian blackness was to be of no more consequence to them than it had been to the Greeks and the Romans. Until next time, talk to you.